What is up, guys? Welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. Oh, man. Been gone for a few days. Was basically celebrating, the holiday that we just passed, and also had a malfunction with my computer. I dropped a whole beer on my freaking computer, and it was down for like 2 days. Flip, what's going on? TJ, what's going on, boys? Good morning. Hope you guys are having a great day. Let's just jump right into this because we're not going to be here for too long. Market's about to be opening up in about less than a minute now. So as of this morning, you guys can see Bitcoin had a nice little move towards the upside. Looks like we bottomed out as of yesterday around 107.4. Real quick, can you guys, my audio, everything's good? You guys can hear me? Because I had to unplug everything, plug everything back in, set everything back up. Just want to make sure I'm good to go. I'll keep going. Tell me if there's no audio. Just let me know. So, like I said, Bitcoin dropped down to about 107.4 as of yesterday. Last night, this morning, awesome, Flip. I appreciate that. We saw a nice little move towards the upside. Looks like we ran up to about 109 so far before slightly getting rejected. Would like to see what this market's going to bring today. If we can keep an eye out, even though we have 30 seconds until the market's opening up. Let's see here. Futures kind of stagnant right now. S&P is slightly up. So let's see how it's going to jump up in the next like 30 seconds here. We'll see. But for the most part, looking at the market, you can see Crow's doing really good. We have Zcash up about 4%. We're going to talk about why Crow. TJ, I appreciate it, brother. We're going to talk about why Crow is doing really well. Uniswap doing fantastic as well. A lot of hype has been coming behind Ethereum right now. We talked about this last week. Remember, we talked about Tom Lee. The second that they dropped that video, he was on the news live, and he basically was saying that he was taking over a company and they were going to start buying heavily on Solana, with a lot of development coming into Solana, Ethereum. Forgive me. For Ethereum, and I basically told you guys, I sounded the alarm. I said, I think Ethereum is about to see its day in the sun coming up. Let's see here. Markets just opened up. Let's see what's going to happen here. Let me zoom in a little bit on these charts. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot of momentum shifting, not necessarily leaving Bitcoin, but a lot of eyes and attention starts coming back onto Ethereum. It's been just too long where Ethereum has been sitting there dormant. I'm thinking that Ethereum might be seeing some big runs here coming up. So obviously that's what the market, staying healthy, Bitcoin staying healthy as well. So let's see here. So the market opened up. It actually, looking at the S&P right now, we'll switch over. Looking at the S&P, it is slightly up. You can see a nice little move towards the upside, but nothing really too crazy. 0.005, NASDAQ's up about 0.25%, and we have the DXY that's actually been steadily moving up about 0.2%. But for the most part, nothing really occurring as far as with the markets for right now. So, I mean, hopefully we're not going to see such a boring day. I will tell you guys, we're going to go over some news and stuff like that, but we already saw what happened yesterday, right? We saw that Trump was announcing that there was some sort of trade deals maybe potentially happening. He did call for a pause again, right? I believe the deadline is going to be coming up tomorrow, where pretty much it was, they had to come to some kind of a resolution as far as for the tariffs. And we don't really know what's going on behind the doors, right? We really don't know. There's a lot of speculation, but regardless, it looks like we're seeing another pause behind all that. And, you would think the markets would have went running. Well, they didn't. I don't think these markets are liking that we're basically kicking the can down the road, and we have to continue to deal with this crap, for another however long. I didn't really see how long he paused it for, but on top of that, he did announce that, no matter what, most countries are going to see 10 to 25% tariffs regardless, right? And right when he basically tweeted that, or X'd it, or whatever you want to call, basically the markets did not like it. We saw a little bit of a move trying to happen yesterday, but that's when we basically saw us just kind of dropping down, staying real boring and stagnant as of yesterday. So, okay, Flip said August 1st. That's right. That is right. Now I remember. That is right. I appreciate that. So, I mean, if you think about that, we're in July, September, August. We're talking about another freaking, month and a half, 2 months down the road that we have to basically wait to see what's going on, right? So it still just provides a lot more uncertainty in the market. That's pretty much why you saw yesterday. Really, the stock market came down slightly, kind of in the red, but not like a crash, but just a boring, shitty day yesterday is what I can say. So this morning, I did end up closing. I had a long open because I told everybody, I did drop it in the Discord yesterday, that I did open up a long yesterday, actually around 108,000. I called it a little too early. We did drop down to about 107.4, like I said yesterday. I did add to the position. This was as of yesterday. I added to the position so I could bring my my entry point down, because I figured at some point we would see somewhat of a bounce. As the day continued yesterday, I was like, you know what? I really don't like this position that I'm in. I was at around 108,000 even for a long for Bitcoin, and I was at 2,520 for Ethereum for a long as well. Two different positions. I was like, you know what? Ethereum wasn't really bothering me because it was staying pretty strong, but Bitcoin just yesterday was giving me. I was a little, just nervous. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if I went to bed last night and woke up and the markets kind of were down. Well, it was the opposite, right? We saw the opposite. We're going to cover why I think maybe we saw the market maybe rebound last night. But as we jumped up to about 109 this morning, I ended up closing out my longs, and I closed out my my longs for Ethereum as well, and actually opened up, believe it or not, a short-term short at around 108,900 right there for Bitcoin. So you can see, technically, if you look down at the screen right now, I am up about 12% on my short position for Bitcoin. You can see we're looking at the 1 minute here, so just take this with a grain of salt, but you can see for Bitcoin, possible double top M pattern forming right now. Now the market just opened up, so I mean, I wouldn't take that with, oh my God, we're about to start heading back, we're about to start coming down or anything like that. This could easily just kind of fizzle out, and whatever today brings will bring, right? Because I've been telling you guys this for a while. This kind of market with the freaking tariffs, everything else that's going on, we're pretty much at a point where it's just like the markets can literally fluctuate over any kind of tweet or any kind of stupid announcement that gets dropped. The markets will literally dump or pump. So looking at Crow, I wanted to pull up Crow. Crow actually is having a decent day today. It was kind of stagnant as of the last freaking 2 or 3 months, but you can see a nice little move towards the upside. We did get rejected at around 10 cents. It is hovering around 9 cents as of now. Let me zoom out on Crow. We're going to actually pull up why Crow is particularly not doing too bad today. Because, if something like this is moving up, there was some kind of announcement, right? Right now, that's what kind of environment we're in. Some of these projects might, on their own just start moving, but a lot of times there's something behind it that's going on. There's a reason why the particular project's moving. So let's just pull that up here. Let's see here. So Trump's media files registration settlement for crypto blue chip ETFs. So it looks like Trump media has filed a registration settlement statement with the SEC for the Truth Social crypto blue chip ETF. The ETF will directly hold a portfolio of cryptocurrencies with the following allocation: 70% Bitcoin, 15% Ethereum, 8% Solana, 5% Chronos, and 2% Ripple. So you see that? So 70% in Bitcoin, 15% in Ethereum, 8% in Solana, 5% in Chronos, and 2% in Ripple, which just blows my mind. They actually they're holding more Crow than they're going to hold XRP. That's just, I'm happy about it. I like Crow. I feel like Crow really needs something to boost up its ecosystem, because if you guys are familiar with Crow and the freaking their ecosystem, it has been absolutely just dormant. Nothing's been going on in Chronos. They haven't been promoting nothing. You can see today it's finally up for the 24-hour volume about $6 million, which is absolutely still baby crumbs compared to anything that's going on in pretty much any other ecosystem. But for the last 2 weeks, it has been barely hitting $1 million in 24-hour volume. Think about that. With all the projects that are on Chronos right now, which all of them are pretty much not really doing anything, but even with VVS, even with Crow, people swapping, into Crow and stuff like that on the actual DeFi ecosystem can barely get $1 million in a day. So definitely something like this hopefully will will bring some attention over to Chronos, and we'll start seeing some some activity on Chronos, because I love trading with DeFi on Chronos. I feel like it's a lot slower pace, but you can make a lot of money because it's just not so much shit going on like Solana, right? There's just Solana's just like, it's crazy. It is crazy. So crypto.com will serve as the executive digital asset custodian, prime execution agent, and provide staking liquidity services. The ETF, sponsored by Yorkville America Digital, will be listed on the NASDAQ pending SEC approval of both this registration, the registration statement, and the Form 19B4 filing. So pretty much you guys can see crypto.com is going to basically be the executive digital asset custodian, basically custodying everything that the Trump media for their crypto, assets. 70% Bitcoin, 15% Ethereum, 8% Solana, 5% Chronos, and 2% Ripple. So that's pretty much why you're seeing a move, particularly in Crow. Why aren't we really seeing anything going on with like Solana? Solana's actually up about 2%. Nothing really too crazy, but Chronos market cap's a lot smaller, right? So you're going to see a little bit more movement. So Chronos has also been down like crazy. It hasn't really done anything in the last few months, like I keep stating. So something like this, even any kind of news that can come out for Chronos, you're going to see some movement towards the upside, just because people are like, oh, here we go. They're going to start maybe slightly piling in on Chronos. I say slightly because even though you got some good news, it's really not, something that's going to, break the bank or anything like that. So Solana up about 2%. XRP really not even caring about any of that stuff. It is, on an upward trend. If you're looking at the 4-hour chart right now, it did bottom out below the consolidation zone at around $1.90. And you can see as of now, it's been kind of hanging around that same spot that it likes to hang, right? You'll see some moves towards the ups, you'll see some downs, but it always finds its way around that $2.25, $2.30 mark for right now. So, and they're up not even 1% on that news. But another thing, Ethereum, like I keep telling you guys, I think Ethereum is, I'm telling you guys, I could just feel it. I think Ethereum is going to be that play where right now it's at 2,500. I wouldn't be surprised, and I said this probably a few weeks ago or like last week when Tom Lee was on CNBC basically announcing that they're about to go heavy on Ethereum. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised in the next month that we're seeing probably a $3,000+ Ethereum, if not, around 3,500 potentially in the next, few weeks, next month. It could be faster. Who knows? It obviously depends on the market as well, but I would not be surprised if Ethereum starts really chipping away at Bitcoin's dominance, right? And let's pull up the dominance real quick, because we need something to chip away Bitcoin's dominance. We really do. We need something to chip away Bitcoin's dominance. What's going on with TradingView? There we go. Because Bitcoin dominance right now is absolutely just not giving up. It will not it's just relentless. And we talk about this all the time. We know this is because institutional money just keeps piling and piling into particularly Bitcoin. If they're buying anything, like you just saw with Trump's company, right? 70% Bitcoin, and then they're throwing little crumbs. 15% with Ethereum, that's pretty big too, but everything else, 5% Solana, 5% Chronos, 2% Ripple, right? They're giving little crumbs to the alts, and they're basically going so heavy on Bitcoin, and that's them. If you're really looking at a lot of these other bigger institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity and all them, they're strictly buying freaking Bitcoin. They have the ETFs for Ethereum as well, but they're like solely buying and just piling up on Bitcoin for right now. So for right now, this is what you're going to see. This is in the last 2 years. This has just been steadily making new local highs as it continues to move. This is basically right here. This is Bitcoin's dominance, right? This is the dominance. This is the 65% of all money that's in crypto is solely in Bitcoin, right? We don't want Bitcoin to crash, and it won't. As Bitcoin dominance comes down, Bitcoin will still do very well. It just means that money is flowing into other sectors in the crypto market and not 100% in freaking Bitcoin, right? So, Jay, what's going on, brother? What is going on? I'm glad to be back here, man. 2 days without, well, it's been like 4 days, 5 days without streaming, but 2 days without my computer looking at charts. I was literally about to pull my freaking hair out. I'm sitting here making trades, even though I still did. I was still making my moves, my leverage trading on my iPhone. It was not fun. It really is not. I have multiple screens. I need to look at stuff. You know what they say, right? The more screens you have, the more money you make, right? That is a gift. That's been proven. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just kidding with you. Let's check out some other stuff here. So Solana's tokenized stock market more than triples in 2 weeks to hit 48 million. Let's see here. So let's see here. So Solana's tokenized stock market hit 48.53 million on July the 4th, up more than threefold from the 15 million on June 20th. Solana's tokenized stock capitalization expanded more than threefold in 2 weeks, outpacing every other tracked network during the period. Furthermore, the tokenized stock market on Solana's represented 11.4% of the total market capitalization. Algorand remains the leader in this segment with 294.71 million, while XRP Ledger follows in second place with 55.35 million. Tokenized shares trade on a on-chain representation of a traditional equities and settle under the SPL standard on Solana. Prices are tracked through off-chain market making and periodic collateral audits while reflecting the underlying securities. Let's see here. So you can see, obviously, I didn't know that Algorand was like the leader as far as tokenized stock market. That's crazy. I did not. I feel like I knew that, but I didn't. But you can see, I mean, they're not only the top. They're out 300 million with XRP behind at around 50, and then you have Solana right there, right below 50 million. So getting up there, boys. We're getting up there on Solana. Let's hear Pump.Fund eyes EVM expansion amid Bunk.Fund rivalry. So I didn't know what the hell was going on with Bunk. Like I said, I've been like in the dark for the last couple of days. So I'm reading this with you guys for the first time. I'm sure all you guys already know. Bunk's been out on a run the last couple of days. So Pump.Fund and Solana-based token launch pad platform is reportedly set to roll out a range of updates with possible expansion into the Ethereum ecosystem. Ethereum, you better watch out. Pump Fund's coming over there. Good luck. This move comes as a platform faces mounting competition in the rapidly growing token generation market. On July 7th, Dumpster.io, a crypto trading and research platform, reported that the new application program interface API documents from Pump.Fund suggested several upcoming features. The API document reveals endpoints that hint at a subscription model, Stripe webhook integration, order books, and social features such as post, messaging, and video support. Dumpsters.io also reported that users may soon be able to set subscription prices and launch their tokens, suggesting a shift towards a more creator-driven ecosystem. One notable detail is the potential capability with Ethereum's virtual machine EVM chains. All right. So it says the format of the order, let's see here, also indicates that the EVM chain could be supported. Bunk.Fund's competition. So the development comes as a crucial time for Pump.Fund, which now faces increasing competition from Bunk.Fund. The rival launchpad, backed by Bunk meme coin community, has recently overtaken Pump.Fund in several key metrics. So the data from Delphi Digital shows that Bunk.Fund now leads daily token launches, capturing over 50% of the market with more than 16,000 launches in a single day. It also accounts for 64% of Radium token launches, with daily graduation soaring from 10 to 107 within a month. Dune Analytics data also shows that the switch in dominance in 24 hours, Pump.Fun created around 9,936 tokens, while Bunk.Fun, also known as Let's Bunk, produced 21,000. Holy shit. So basically what it looks like is a lot of people are just kind of trying out Bunk.Fun, right? I haven't even pulled it up whatsoever to see what it's like. Let's see if we can pull it up on here. Bunk.Fun. Let's bunk. First things first, dark mode. Always got to put it in dark mode, right? So, I mean, it obviously mimics what Pump Fun. We're going to probably, this kind of leads into tonight. We're going to be heading into the trenches for our member stream. So we'll be doing a lot of live trading. So I'm actually going to put this on the save. And we're going to be running with this as well tonight. We'll see how this plays out. I'm sure it's probably identical to Pump Fun is what it ultimately looks like, right? Let's look at some of these things. Look at this cat with the wig. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty much identical to Pump Fun to a certain extent, right? It looks a little bit easier on the eyes. What do you guys think? In my opinion, it looks a little easier on the eyes. Like Pump Fun, let's go over to Pump Fun. Pump Fun has just got so much going on, bro. I honestly do not like Pump Fun. I do not like Pump Fun. I will use it. You know, we'll head over to when we're in the trenches and stuff like that. But to me, I mean, I guess when you just like jump into like the advanced and stuff like that, it's just so much shit going on here. I'm back over here to Bunk. Oh, they have advanced as well. Let's hear. See, doesn't this just looks a lot easier on the eyes? It honestly does. Versus this is Pump Fun, and this is Bunk.Fun. So I mean, you can see here. This is where you might get lucky and end up jumping in on some of these projects. I mean, if you're always wondering how the hell are these people getting in so early, you know, before the decks. You know, before it hits the decks and stuff like that, this is going to be your option right here where you're going to get into Let's Bunk or Bunk.Fun or Pump.Fun, right? It's going to be a freaking scrambler trying to talk about both those at the same time. But, I mean, you can see these newly created projects. You can jump in where these market caps are at like $20,000, $30,000 market caps. But, like I always tell everybody, even on our member stream when we're jumping into the trenches, 90%, if not more, are most likely going to not do shit, or they're going to be scams where they're going to basically end up pulling all the liquidity or whatever the case is, or not even pulling liquidity. They're just going to basically sell off right when there's any kind of a pump. You'll see them start just selling off like crazy, right? So, but some do make it through all this and they end up jumping in onto the deck screener. And they end up making out to be some of these projects. Like look at Farcoin, right? I pull up Farcoin because look at the market cap, $1 billion. At some point, this was, you know, launched on Pump Fun, right? On Pump Fun. And now this thing is at freaking $1 billion, right? So just imagine coming across this gem when it dropped and actually holding in. Obviously, selling hindsight would have been at the top at around $2.60. But even if you bought in at, you know, when it was on Pump Fun at a fraction of a penny, right? And this thing right now is still sitting at $1.10 right now, $1.08. Still a massive move, right? But coming across these projects are rare. They're rare because you think about it. We just read in that article, right? Where is it? Right here. This shows in 24 hours, Pump Fun over almost 10,000 tokens were created, and on Bunk.Fun, right, 21,000 tokens were created or graduated or created, however you want to look at it, right? But if you think about that, that's 31,000 projects that were created in just a 24-hour period, right? And, you know, like I said, you go back and you look at like Fartcoin, right? That's one of probably 30,000 coins that were created that day, but this one ended up making it. So if you understand what I'm saying, if you look at how it is, the odds are stacked against you, right? But if you're able to stumble across one of these projects and actually hold, and it ends up, developing into a solid meme coin, I mean, that's where you see these YouTubers where they're like, going out and buying all these badass cars and stuff like that because they just ended up, they don't know anything more than you do, right? They might use a few other tools and stuff like that, but they ended up stumbling across one of these projects at the perfect time. They took a risk, threw $500 in something that had freaking a market cap of $10,000 and held on to it for a while, and I say a while as in maybe a few weeks or whatever the case is, sometimes even a day, and then turn that $500 into $1 million or $100,000 or whatever the case is. That happens every freaking day. But you got to remember, there's millions of people trading, right? And there's 30,000 plus projects being created every day. So you look at the odds are stacked against you, but there's a lot of money to be made. There really is. And I think, as we continue to move with this market, the opportunities are going to still be here, but they're not going to be here forever. Because if you guys recall, when we were in the bear market, DeFi shriveled up, right? No Diddy on that one. But DeFi basically what became ghost town, where even in Solana, there wasn't a lot of shit going on. There was very little projects being created, very little liquidity being put into into DeFi, right? There really wasn't shit going on. So you didn't have the opportunity of seeing 30,000 projects being created and money being made every day. It was very little. There was money being made, but it was very little. Actually, more rug pulls. It ended up being like 98% rug pulls because people were just struggling. The scammers were out like crazy, and people were just jumping in on anything at the time because there just wasn't a lot of projects being made. So we will eventually get back into that at a brief time because the bear market will be here at some point, right? I don't care what the hell your favorite YouTuber is telling you, we will be in a bear market at some point. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but at some point, we will be back into that bear market as it always has occurred, right? There's no difference as of now. I don't care. Oh, but there's an ETF now and stuff like that. Who gives a shit? Who cares? The markets will eventually get back into a bear market. And you know what? As long as you take advantage of us whenever we top out and you get your liquidity, it's actually a fun time in the bear market because you're buying, Ethereum under I'm just throwing out previous bear markets, but buying Ethereum at under $1,000. Solana, the last bear market, got down to $7.90, right? I mean, ICP was at like $2. Fetch AI was at like 20 or 15 cents. That's what I was buying Fetch AI 2 years ago. Shit like that. There's just so much money to be made. So a lot of money to be made, but we'll deal with all that whenever we get into it. So, but for right now, Bitcoin's trying to make a little move. We're at 109,100 as of now. So the markets, they're trying to move. Let's look and see what the stock market's doing. Stock market's kind of stagnant right now. Nothing really too much going on. So I wanted to jump into real quick before we go. Fear and greed, we're sitting here right at 50, which tells me that the markets are pretty much obviously half and half right now, right? You have 50% of the market, bullish. The other 50 kind of, I would say maybe not necessarily bearish, but really uncertain is I think the proper way to say it. So, and looking at the market cap, you can see the market cap for Bitcoin, or not for Bitcoin, for the whole crypto space has been really holding steady, right? We've been really staying above that $3 trillion mark. We're right at that 3.3, almost 3.4 trillion for the crypto space. So, I mean, looks good. A lot of money is staying into the market right now. That's a good thing. I keep telling you guys, I think we're going in these next few weeks, these next few months, it's going to move fast. I really do think it's going to move fast. I think that Bitcoin is going to obviously lead the way. Bitcoin's going to be breaking finally above that 110, above all-time highs to 112. And then I easily see it getting up towards as 120, 125, 130,000 for Bitcoin, leading the way. Solana, stagnant, maybe a little bit delayed a few weeks like it normally is on a normal bull run 4-year cycle. But Ethereum starting to break above a 3,000. Like I told you guys, probably in the next month or two, We're going to be talking about a $3,500 Ethereum finally coming up to retest those $4,000 marks. And I think this time we will break above with a lot of institutional money that's going to be focused on coming into Ethereum. And when that happens, you start seeing Bitcoin dominance starting to come down. And guess what follows? Altcoin season will start to commence. And that's when you're going to start seeing your favorite alts going crazy. You're going to start really seeing DeFi. That's when I think the money is going to be really going crazy in DeFi, where you're going to see Solana particularly having these days. Like today, Solana is about $10 billion in volume. You're going to start seeing, when we get into really altcoin season, you're going to see DeFi going crazy. You're going to see $20 billion plus flowing into like ecosystems like Solana and stuff like that. And that's when, I mean, it's just going to be going absolutely apeshit. But those are usually going to be signs of the top of the market is near. And that's what we're going to be talking about, you know, using that exit liquidity to basically jump out, take our profits, and let the market do its thing. So, all right, Flip, I'll see you tonight, brother. Be ready. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We really don't have anything else. Let me see. As far as news, we're good to go. You can see the FOMC meeting coming up in 3 weeks. It looks like we're at 95% pause, so nothing really crazy going to be happening with that. Twitter pretty much saying the same stuff that we just covered about Trump's filing for the blue chip ETF. Let's see here. Really nothing much going on for right now, so nothing much going on. So hopefully today we stay in the green, right? We want to see Bitcoin stay above at least 108,000. We would like to see, because if you remember yesterday, 108,000 was kind of where we were hitting our head. We'd like to see Bitcoin stay above 108,000 for today. That would mean that we're probably going to see some upward movement as far as the next few days. So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys are watching this after fact, make sure you guys slap that like, hit that subscribe. Tonight, we will be in the trenches. We're going to be diving into the trenches. We're going to be doing a lot of fast movement on DeFi with Solana, right? So we'll be on bunk.fun. We'll try it for the first time tonight. We'll be on pump.fun. We'll be on the DeFi. We're going to be going crazy tonight. So check us out. We'll probably be streaming around 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So hit that join button, become a member, and I'll see each and every one of you guys tonight. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.